Hey guys, it's Tim from Anything Scout, and today we're going to be talking about Scout 2 and Terra carpet kits. Alright, so the basics of any good carpet kit install is just kind of laying everything out and kind of comparing what you have from an original carpet to what came in your box. Today we're going to be working on a Scout Terra. You'll basically be using the front half of a kit. I'm going to walk over. We ordered a Scout 2 carpet kit for this truck just so we had some extra pieces, and I'll kind of walk you over why we did that. But when you order your Scout 2 carpet kit, this is what will come in your box. And it looks very similar to the original. It's a nice molded piece that will be very similar in shape and size as your original. Just make sure you go over your box before you cut any pieces. You cannot return your kit if it's cut. Make sure you have everything that you need, and I'll walk you through the basic tools you'll need for your install. All right, the basics that you'll need for any carpet install in any of these vehicles is a good glue. We like using a Landau Top contact cement. It's a two-part, so you put it on the carpet, you put it on the truck, and it bonds together, makes a really good bond. It doesn't peel up or anything like that. This is overkill. This is a 5-gallon bucket. It does get sold in pint cans, gallon cans, etc. So you don't have to order a giant 5-gallon can. We're probably going to use about, I'd say overall, maybe half a gallon for a whole kit. So don't feel like you have to buy a 5-gallon bucket of that. The next thing you want is just like a chip brush. 1.5 to 2 inch is fine. This is probably where most of you will be living with your install, kind of going dip brush, wipe it on the carpet, wipe it on the truck, and stick it. I'm going to also show you how to use just basically a low pressure, high volume spray gun as well. This is just for the ease of this video, and this is honestly how I like to install carpet, larger panels. So I'll go over that when we start using it. And you'll want very sharp razor blades. 2 to 3 will be great. If your carpet is like this and it has the mass backing, it is crucial that you have a sharp razor blade for this. All right, now that we've got all of our tools established, you've laid out the kit, made sure that all of your pieces are there, I kind of want to walk you through our basically prep for a carpet kit. We like running sound deadener. This is a 3-part. It's got like a sound, a heat, and another sound layer. There are 3 layers. There are many brands of this. You don't have to buy a specific brand. They're all very good. I like the Silas stuff. That's what we've been using in this truck and all of our other vehicles that we do here. Basic areas that you want to cover with sound deadener is your footwells, the main floor, up the side tunnel especially. There's a lot of noise and vibration, especially heat from your exhaust running underneath here. Gives you kind of a nice barrier for that. Originally, the carpet kits that came in these trucks had a rubber mat and then kind of like looks like insulation layer and then the actual carpet. We're just replacing that with modern materials. This is a thin product. You can put it underneath most every carpet kit you want, and it works great for heat and sound. So today we're just working on a Terra. For you guys with Scout 2s and Travelers, this would be the time when I would suggest putting in your rear carpet kit first. Start at the back, work your way forward, square up your rear edge of your carpet to the wheel arch openings, and just kind of lay it in there, get a feel for it. You'll want to do your wheel arch pieces first. Those will lay underneath. Those can be kind of fussy. Just take your time, lay it out over the wheel arch, put glue on half the wheel arch, fold it over, do the other half, and then move on to the side panels. We will be using just a small chunk of these side panels with the Terra, and I'll show you that here in a minute. But we'll be coming out with a video hopefully later on, kind of specifically for a Scout 2, just to show those kind of tricky areas. But again, you'll want to start backwards and work your way forwards. That's just the way I found that works the best. It gets you your reveal lines in the right place. When it comes time to put your front carpet in, everything kind of lines up really well. Back to the Terra, we basically primarily have a front carpet kit, and the factory will use this little step panel here. We're basically going to mimic this out of the rear kit and cut it accordingly here and run that piece in our carpet install. We'll also do the same with the side panels of the Scout 2 piece. We'll cut both sides and do that. But before we start there, we have to start in the footwell, and we'll install the kick panel pieces, and then we'll move to the main carpet, and then we'll kind of work front to back. And I'll start with the kick panels. Okay, so we're back in the truck. A few things to note before you start doing your carpet install. I have the center tunnel cover off, the shifter kind of down and out of the way. The TK shifter can stay there. We'll just cut a slit for it later on. But the more stripped down you have everything, the better. This truck has factory AC and we're not messing with any of that. So I am going to be trimming around the box and everything. So that will all stay in place for this install. Yours can be different. The full footwell is included in the carpet kit, so trim accordingly. If you want to leave your AC unit in the way, or if you have everything out, that's the perfect ideal situation for a carpet install. To start, we're going to do our kick panel piece. When they ship you these, they will have a full horseshoe cut out for the fresh air vent down in your footwell. I like to put kind of an angle cut on it. The reason being, you don't see any of that, and the e-brake bracket is actually right in the way, and without removing that, it's kind of hard to get the full flap installed with your glue setting up. So I usually put a slash cut on it, and we'll go through just gluing it quick. The technique that I'm using here will be just a brush. I like to do a 40-60 split, 40% on the carpet, 60% on the truck, and that will give you a pretty good bond when it's all said and done. So I'll take glue just from my spray gun, and I'll just dip into there. Just be easier that way. Set that off to the side. So you want your glue to get all the way to the edges, all the way to the binding. Reason being, you don't want that peeling up. That sits right against your door seal, and you don't want this going anywhere, especially not from like weather or anything peeling back. So I like to go all the way to the binding, all the way to the fresh air duct opening, basically all corners of this. Again, this is a 40% coverage, so it doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to be perfect with everything, because you're going to put glue on both sides of this. This stuff gives you about a 3 to 5 minute work time. I usually like to stick it after about a minute, see how well it's going to adhere. If it's too tacky or not tacky enough, pull it back off and start. It really depends on the humidity where you're working. In here today, it's kind of humid and it's pretty warm, so it might go off faster than that. So when you get to go to the truck, you basically just, I like to start at the top because obviously gravity will be pulling the glue down. This can get kind of messy, just kind of be mindful of that. And again, glue up as far as you can on both sides, the vent area, everything. All right, we've let that kind of tack up. It is starting to get pretty tacky, and so is the truck side. So when you're installing this, try and kind of hover the panel over it. Don't stick it fully, obviously, because then you'll have to peel it back off. In these tighter areas, it does get kind of tricky, but I like trying to line up this reveal the best I can, stick it from the back and kind of work your way forward. This angle to the floorboard it's relatively close. Sometimes it can be off, and that's okay. Just kind of slide the panel down. The bottom carpet will actually cover that binding anyway, and you will never see if there's like a little deviation in there, cut there. So hover the panel and make sure it doesn't get stuck to the wall. It can be kind of tricky. And again, we're just trying to get a straight reveal to this outer side here. And just kind of run your hand around it. Get that in there, get that all the way up there. There we are. What I like doing with the first part of the floor panel is basically just squaring up the back corner, and I'll kind of chase the reveal of this binding these kits can be slightly off with their binding. Sometimes the line is not perfectly straight, it kind of wanders a little bit. Take that into account. What I do in like the Terras and what I like to do in like Scout 2 as well is put the rear carpet in, fold it down, and then have the reveal of the front carpet go over that. In the Terra, it's a little different, just because I've got wiring and a bunch of other stuff under the carpet for this truck, because we're not taking the top off, we're not doing our wiring in a separate way. So what I like doing here is actually running this up into the step area and up just like a ½ inch so that this binding pretty much disappears. And then we'll use our step piece to come down and kind of hide all the binding that way. Personal preference really, but that's just what I like doing. So we'll start by squaring up this panel in this back corner. Again, your TK shifter can be kind of a pain to get the carpet up against, and you do want to kind of like smash it down. This has like kind of a molded panel in the middle. They kind of heat it up and give you somewhat of a form to work off of. I like to kind of borrow that, get this all squared up. A couple karate chops for good measure. And once you're kind of happy with that, slide your panel to where I'm probably going to run it up about maybe that far, maybe a little bit less. And once you're happy with that, then we'll get to gluing. All right, so I've kind of worked my rear corner to where I'm happy with it. I like starting kind of at an angle. I'll flip this flap up, glue my corner, glue the floor, lay this back down. It kind of tacks it, holds it, and then I can go to the other side, stretch it over, spray the center tunnel, and then I kind of like work in quadrants. I'll like do from here, stick the back, go forward, flip up the front flap, do the same, shoot like basically where the seat base goes, stick that down, and then work up to the very front. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I've just found that works pretty well with these kits, and that's how I'm going to start. All right, and we've let this tack off for about a minute. I'm going to stick this down and just watch my corners. Again, with doing just the first edge, this kind of sets you up for the rest of the kit, so you want to make sure you're nice and square. And you can also kind of fuss forward, backwards, side to side as much as you need to when you're laying this panel, and it'll set you up for the rest of your kit. Just flat palm, kind of smooth it out. Again, I am going to run up the step a little bit just because we have wiring back there and I want a nice reveal from the step down. Okay, so now that we've got that kind of corner glued down, I'm pretty happy with the way this reveal is going to be over here. I've got a bunch of wiring for stereo stuff that's going to come through right about here. But basically what I'm going to be doing is running my glue line from here over, spray the tunnel really well, stick that down, and then kind of get this whole rear third of the carpet glued down. And then I'll just be kind of bouncing back and forth, gluing and stretching stuff into place. All right, so I've cut a slit and got all my stereo wires through. Again, a lot of you probably won't have these. That's totally fine. Makes it way easier. But basically the rear third of the carpet is now glued, stuck down. I'm gonna just basically work to the middle section and onto the footwells. I'll kind of pause and show you bits and pieces that might be tricky for you. Again, I've got a factory AC unit that I'm gonna be cutting around. If you don't have that, it's super easy. Just footwells go up, glue everything, and you're good to go. All right, so I've got my middle third over here glued down, stuck pretty nicely. Now comes time to cut out my shifter area. I like to lay everything in, get one side kind of stuck, and then up over the tunnel as much as possible. That way you get the most accurate representation of where your shifter and the hole cutout is going to be. And then we'll just take our super sharp razor blade and I'll just kind of like flip this up. I put my hand underneath and push all the way against that shifter just to get an idea of right where that hole needs to be, and then I'll just cut a simple slit. Nothing huge at this point. We'll just get it slid over, and then that will lay over the whole tunnel, and then we can go on with our gluing. Okay, so there's that trim there. Cut that there, stick that there. All right, so now for the AC box, and this is the original system with the box down here. I just kind of cut a horseshoe around it. I'll glue all of this down, get all this glued up in the footwell and everything, and then this will just kind of tuck down around, and then this will go up the side, and then I'll get my drain holes melted again, and this should be fitting pretty well. There are a few creases. You'll have some fold points, some creases, stuff like that. If you do have a handheld steamer, you can use those after you're done. When you install it, just try your best to pull and then push and work those creases out as you go. Or you can leave some like really heavy duty magnets on it for a couple days afterwards. These creases will go away. Once you see sun and heat in your truck as well, that'll fade over time. So we will get gluing this. We'll get this all glued down, and then we'll go to the driver's side and do the same thing. All right, so I've pretty much just trimmed and fit where I needed to. Ran this side of the carpet, that side up over the AC box there. I'm going to trim the trans tunnel. Easiest way to do that is basically where your hole was to start with for the shifter to go through. Just kind of feel with your hand the edge of the opening. Take your razor blade really carefully and just go to the edge of the opening. That way when you put your plate back, you'll still have enough edge on your carpet to have the plate actually hold it down, just like the factory was. And I'll just continue this method all the way around and get the opening cut out. Okay, so now that we have the front carpet kit in, got our center tunnel all cut out, I like using a Scout 2 kit because it comes with these side panels and also the rear carpet. So the next piece we're going to cut out of our kit is the side panels. I only need, obviously, this front chunk right here, not much. So I'm going to get a few quick measurements and we'll go out there, transfer it to that, and just cut it with some decent scissors and bring it in here, and then we'll do the final trim. Looks about 8 inches all the way up. Well, I guess it's already cut to length, so as long as it's 21, we'll go out here and we'll cut it. All right, so this is our side panel here. I'll just make sure that I have at least 8 inches before the wheel arch. I have 10, so I'm basically just gonna draw an imaginary line and go straight up at this wheel arch opening. And we'll take that panel back into the truck. And that's going to sit up there nicely like that. Now, factory, you would have had, the step would have had a panel, but this would have been paint match, the bulkhead paint match. If you guys have been wondering what these tabs are, I actually built a board that will step out the bulkhead. It'll screw to the top here, these tabs at the bottom, and it'll be upholstered to match our sub box. That's an option that you can do, or you can just cut out like factory, just do the bottom step, and I like putting the side panels in and then just cutting it right here. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. This is just kind of a cleaner, nicely finished way, and we get more sound deadener on the bulkhead this way. So that's what I've chose to do here. I'm just gonna take just lay this up here and just kind of eyeball it. I know some people will probably cringe that I'm not using a ruler or anything, but that's okay. And basically what I'm looking for is just covering all this. I will take the kit comes with a bottom door edge piece that is bound, and I like cutting like a thin strip of carpet and going straight down from this. When we're all done, I'll kind of show that. But for now, we're just gonna go as far as this panel will, and then just know that we will be cutting out another little piece to fill right there. All right, I got this trimmed up pretty good. Pretty happy with how this is fitting. For my application, when I'm having that rear panel here, I'm still going all the way to the bulkhead. And then I just put a little slit at the bottom to continue down over the step. Overall, I'm pretty happy with how that's going to fit, and we'll get ready to glue it. I'm doing all of this, the step and the sides. Probably that back panel, I already sprayed that to upholster it, but anything that I'm doing here that you saw me use a spray gun for, you can use a paintbrush. It's not a big deal. I just did it for the ease of the video, and I just in general like using an atomized spray. It uses less product and gives you a more even coat. But don't be afraid to do this in your garage. You can very easily do this with a paintbrush. Did not need much. So we've got our side panels in, trimmed up. Again, I'll cut that piece after we're done. I'm gonna worry about the step piece now. This front carpet kit, I ran up the step just a little bit so that when the step piece comes in, it'll give you a nice reveal at the bottom here to the center tunnel and everything. So I'm just gonna grab some quick measurements on what I need. And it looks like about 7 and 6, so we'll do 13. I'll cut it at probably 14. I give myself about an inch just to be able to fuss it around if it needs to. And we'll go over to the rear carpet kit and cut the front edge of that off, and that will be that piece. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. It's plenty long enough. I'm going to glue this front face of the step, stick it on, and then we'll wrap it up the side, put some glue there, and then I'll cut around for my tabs. I like leaving it long on purpose. If you're going to wrap it up and over and leave this bulkhead painted or something like that, you can just simply cut this back line and leave a nice reveal there too. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so before I was talking about cutting out a scrap and extending this all the way down, I just did that. Took a hemmed edge here, just cut this. This panel comes with all the carpet kits. It's supposed to go on the bottom of your door panel. We don't use them. And if you are planning to use this, you can use a piece of your rear carpet as well. but I just cut my chunk out and I'll just kind of mock it up in here. I cut it long enough to fit kind of down and in to go all the way to the bottom. So then all I do is just glue that in, fold this over, and this line will continue all the way down. All right, and this is the rear panel that I was talking about earlier. We've upholstered it in kind of like a black felt. It'll match our sub box pretty well. Basically all this is just 1/4 inch board. We've got sound deadener on the back of it as well. And this basically will just sit against the tabs on the bottom in here. And we'll just kind of flex it in here. Drop in, and that'll tuck in right there. We'll get our sub in here, throw some screws in, and that just kind of finishes off the look and keeps things really quiet in here too. So if you do have a nice stereo, it keeps everything from rattling and just finishes off the interior nicely. All right, so general cleanup. This works really well, 3M general purpose adhesive cleaner. Just put a little bit on a rag. I did have a glue spill right here, small spot. It's not the end of the world. This stuff takes it off right away. Works really well. Just kind of saturate the area. And basically it'll just kind of lift the adhesive. Works super well. And don't worry about spilling glue on this. It comes up really easily. So that will work for that. And I will show you, if you do have wrinkles and stuff, they will work themselves out over time. But if you do have a steamer, I can kind of go over and show you guys just the technique for running that over. This is a nylon style carpet, so you can't get too crazy with it, but I'll just show you how to steam out some of the creases and areas that you're not so happy with. All right, the best part of this, just probably have one of these laying around in grandma's basement or something. This is literally from the 70s. It's a Jiffy steamer. Any handheld steamer will work great. The older the better, I've found. Let this get going for a little bit, and then you can do this before you install it. I have done it both ways. Both ways work great. Once you install it, like this area that we had some wrinkles and everything, you'll want to come in with your steam. Again, this is like it's got nylon in it, and you can melt that with steam, so just be kind of mindful of that. But you can get right up on it and just make quick passes. And basically that will soften the fibers and the mass backing, that plasticky backing that comes on these carpet kits. And as you can see already, it's starting to kind of ease those wrinkles out. And just go kind of fast passes. You don't want to hold in one spot too long, otherwise it can start melting. But you can kind of pull and push, and also pull up on this while you do it. And you might not get them perfect, but they'll be a lot better than when you start. And also you can let an area dry for a little bit. I'll probably let this dry and hit it again. But it just kind of releases all those wrinkles and lays the carpet down nicely. Well, I've got some work ahead of me with the steamer, but that pretty much wraps up everything with a carpet install for a Scout 2, Terra, Traveler. They're all relatively the same. This will at least show you the front half and kind of tips and tricks here and there. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. Again, you can order these carpet kits on our website, anythingscout.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and if there's any ideas you guys have for videos, let us know. We'll make a video.